Hey guys, I just want to make a quick video on the deck that I used to get to Masters and do like a little mini guide for it. I went on an 8-win streak to get to Masters. Um, yeah, I think it's a really good deck. I beat a lot of different decks. It feels like the matchup tables are really good. Feels like every deck I played against definitely was winnable. Wasn't like super unfavored into anything. And wanted to help you guys out if you're trying to get Masters too. Hopefully this helps. So the deck list is 3 Exhaust, 1 Omen Hawk. The 1 Omen Hawk is kind of just like an extra 1-drop, like so it's like you have 4 1-drops instead of 3 with the Treasure Seekers. Capestone is obviously really good. It's a good battle trick. It's usually just used for the 1 health and keep your things alive. But once you've played a Rockhopper, it obviously becomes really powerful in an Overwhelm deck. The Exhaust is a pretty good way to like guarantee a trade early. But by the way, a lot of the times in this deck you're keeping some spell mana or a battle trick like Exhaust, Troll Chant, stuff like that. Or like banking some mana to go in for a Battle Fury late game. Then yeah, you have 3 Sisters. The 1 of is usually enough. You could up that technically depending on what you're playing against. But the freeze helps against Lee Sin, it helps against Lurk. Yeah, it can help against quite a bit of things. Obviously a lot of times also I end up entombing something that's like a blocker for my Overwhelm unit and to get that extra damage. It actually happens quite often. Yeah, Fury of the North, another battle trick to protect things. Like, this is really versatile and really good. Rockhopper, really good way to trade down. 3 health, 3 attack unit, so it helps into like fearsome stuff like that. Usually trades into everything. It's really good. You can also use it, and it makes them really awkward. If you can use this like to make sure like if you know they're gonna play like a Draven, Zed, Sivir, something like that on a certain turn, if you can somehow bait them into playing units on like turn 2 first and then you play this, then it makes it really awkward because they don't know if they just, a lot of times, sometimes they just play it and make it vulnerable anyways, which is really good for you because then you can kill it later. Or they have to play weird units instead and like fuck their turnover. So it's just a really annoying ass card, really good in the deck. There's this Predator, obviously good in the Overwhelm deck. Helps with, sometimes you get these for free with Renekton's Camp spell. You don't need too many of those, but they are really good. Ruthless Predator is just an Overwhelm unit, obviously, that you can battle for your late game. It can trade into quite a bit of things with the with Exhaust and stuff like that, and it's a really good unit because it's tough for the Troll Chance. Just pretty good. Troll Chance like the best battle trick in the game. Obvious 3 of. Helps keep all your things alive, so you can you can hit them twice with certain Overwhelm units. Merc Hunter is fearsome. It can usually get it in for 4 a lot of the time. If not, it can usually, since it has vulnerable, it can be used to like go 2 for 1 and kill one of their like 2 attack or less units for free. Renekton is just really good in this deck with all the vulnerable package of Shurima. And then Battle Furying it like immediately levels it up. So just pretty good in the deck. Sivir is obviously broken with Spell Shield. And all the vulnerables, getting free kills is really important. If you do level it up, which isn't like impossible in this deck, you do have stuff like the Sandstone Chargers that come from Treasure Seekers. So you do have ways to level it up, even though games shouldn't go too long in this deck. But if you do level it up, giving quick attack to any of these Overwhelm units is just broken. So, and Spell Shield, obviously. If you can give Spell Shield to a lot of these Overwhelm units, it's a guaranteed win. Because then if you Battle Fury it later, like and it has Spell Shield, it's free. Rune Runner is like the best card in the game. Obvious 3 of. It is kind of the only way this deck is able to exist against certain decks in the meta because of the Spell Shield. Wild Claw, just a good big statted unit to do a lot of damage. it can get up to 15 with Battle Fury, right? So it's kind of crazy. Sejuani is really good. I think 1 is probably enough. The ratios might not be perfect, but it does feel good. It feels like whenever I need a Sejuani, it's there. And having only 1 of it means sometimes you can keep it if your hand's already really good. And the mulligan, you can keep it sometimes if you're against like a Lee Sin or like Lurk or something like that, where you know you'll get value from it. Yetis are really good. A lot of times you keep in the mulligan because the way it works and like reducing its cost every round, you end up with like a good unit on like a 5/5 unit on turn 4 with Overwhelm, and then sometimes you can have a battle trick on top of it to make sure it attacks more than once. It's really good. And also sometimes I end up playing renekton over this on turn 4 a lot of the time, so then I can cheese this out with like a 0 cost later or like 1 cost later. When against certain decks like Draven Ezreal and stuff like that, you want to having this like 0 mana Yeti or like 1 mana Yeti like to surprise them is really important to make sure that it's not weak. And we'll get into that a bit later. But it can really help against those decks. And obviously Battle Fury is the main part of the deck. Most of the time in this deck, you're going to be winning the game from Battle Furies. Sometimes you have to bank mana into turn 6 or 7 to make sure you have enough for this Battle Fury, so always be thinking about that. But yeah, that's the main way. You basically just have a bunch of big Overwhelm units, you just huck them at the enemy, and you Battle Fury one of them and you win. That's basically it. And yeah, the cool thing about this deck is that nothing seems like unwinnable. No matchup felt like you couldn't beat it, which was not the case for all the decks I was playing, like aggro and stuff like that. Some matchup it just feels like it doesn't really matter what you do, their deck is super favored against you, and that kind of feeling sucks. Whereas this deck, I felt like I could beat anyone. Like any deck I played against, it felt like it was actually winnable, and I think that's very important for climbing. And yeah, before we get into the games, just a couple little tips. So for against like TF Swain and Draven Ezreal, like stuff like Noxus removal and stuff like that, what you kind of really need to do is like kind of what I was talking about with the Ancient Yeti. A lot of times you want to get some cheap Yeti out, like for 0 mana or 1 mana. So after they already use like tri-beams and stuff like that, and thermal beams, you or just like flocks and stuff, then you cheese out a random 0 mana Yeti on their turn, and they don't have enough mana to make it weak, and then the next turn you can Battle Fury it, and if any of these units are not already weak, they usually can't have a way to kill it in that one action that you give them when open attacking. Because usually they need to guillotine, scorched earth, or flock you, and that all requires that you be weak first, or thermal beam, right, and tri-beam, which is slow speed. So if you can set up an open attack with Battle Fury mana next turn, and one of these units is not weak, or still has spell shield like Runeterra, that's usually the way you beat those like Noxus and like Draven Ezreal, TF Swain. It's kind of hard. They have really fucking good cards, obviously, and ways to remove all your shit. Try to keep maybe some Troll Tans, stuff like that, to keep things alive. Japestone. But yeah, the main thing is trying to get one of these out after they've used their mana, so you can open attack the next turn with Battle Fury, and they can't stop it. Lurk kind of depends on if they don't high roll. If they like triple Rek'Sai you turn 1, 2, 3, I mean, I don't really know what deck can really deal with that, but this doesn't really deal with that. But if Lurk's just having a decent game, you have pretty decent ways to stop them. You have Sejuani to stop the Rek'Sais and that spell shield Lurker. You have 3 Sisters to like entomb it or flash freeze it so it doesn't be able to attack. You have ways to like trade pikes and stuff down with like all the vulnerables, and troll chances to keep them alive early against the pike. So it's like you can beat Lurk, but if they high roll, not too much you can do about it. You kind of have to just hope that you can like race them and get a cheeky Battle Fury before they can kill you with Overwhelm. Lee Sin, kind of hard again, but you have a lot of ways to kill, like Zoe. You have a lot of ways to kill. With vulnerable, you have a lot of ways to kill the Eye, this like Eye of the Dragon. With all these vulnerable things. And then Lee Sin, it comes down to usually just again hoping that you can race them. Well, once they play Lee Sin, a lot of times it feels like they don't have too much mana to be stopping all your big attacks. Like this is pretty big. If you kill their Eye and you have like this attacking next turn, they can't, like that's 4 attack is quite a lot. They have to start stopping all these different things, and they don't have too much mana to do that. Like they mainly just have like, they might be running a Will, they run Concussive Palms, but if they don't have Concussive Palms, or if they do and you have a Rune Runner or a Sivir, they can't even really stop those. You can't really try to kill Lee, it seems like, because they have too many ways to pop 2 spells to get a barrier. Can't really do much about that. You don't have any way to pop the barrier. So killing Lee is kind of out of the question. You kind of just have to race him or drag him off to the side and just do a bunch of damage. But it's definitely winnable. And yeah, it's a really cool deck. Seems like it does good into like everything I was playing against. Wasn't super unfavored. Yeah, so hopefully this can help you get to Masters if you're trying. And next will be the games. Thank you guys.
Look at this place. We love it when they run. You got caught. We'll get our licks in. Woohoo! Oh dear. Last to not Rene buys me a new sail.
There's some things I want to tell you. Come lie down with me. I just want to be with you right now. Are you leaving me?
Gonna catch the sky. Can't steal. You've got a problem, I've got a price.
You've got a name, and I've got a list.
Gonna find a gift for renekton, right, Arda? It's a living.
The Winter's Claw!
Wrap 'em up tight.
Gonna get him!
Taken. What's behind this door, you think? Deadly traps, angry guardians, bunch of gold. Here's your cut. Got a lizard and a shovel. It's a trap!
Sun's beneath me and winds behind me. Too slow, stupid.
Gently, gently. Ha-ha! We love it when they run!
or die.
Go get the shiny devil.
Leave nothing standing.
Watch your head. Steady now.
A fight!
Out here, you're moving or you're dead.
Forgetting is death to an immortal.
The Winter's Claw strikes.
Arda's gonna make a meal of them.
Boys, we got visitors! Your time in the cycle is done. Betrayal buried Shrima. Hope revived it.
You lost?
Prove your worth.
Show them our teeth. Chase what you want without mercy.
What good comes of mortal greed? Punishment, if I serve as an example.
Find your own. The Winter's Claw triumphs!
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
Out here, you're moving or you're dead.
greatest gift. What is darkness to the unseen?
We are nothing without each other. You are bound to me, and I to you.
Boys!
You lost? Brave and dumb. My desert, my rules.
Your time in the cycle is done. The eternity will stand together.
Quick hands make quick work.
We stand in the footprints of paths long trodden.
Took it fair and square.
Well, would you look at this? Poor lost soul.
Curse relic!
All life must end.
Life and death inexorably interwoven.
Go get the shiny devil.
You must know me, little